Hey everybody, it's Andrew Edison, and you're listening to
Never
Movie
get rid of me.
Reading it loud and clear. The clock has started.
Action! How's it going, everybody? It's time again for Movie Blab bonus features with my special guests, Katie McDowell, Al Fallick, and Will Fordyce. Let's get going.
Welcome to this podcast. Spread the word.
All right, guys, what is up? That was my dope new intro. I hope you enjoyed.
That's awesome.
Thank you. I feel
You
awesome.
put the nightmare clip in there.
I did put your clip in there so that we could talk about it. Did you? Are you happy I did?
I lost it. I was like, oh my
I knew
god.
you would. The nightmare clip is that clip of the sun in the intro. Katie and I spent about 6 hours trying to get it to not pixelate when you render it out. So it was literally a post nightmare. And then it wasn't even my fucking problem. And I got all invested in it.
It's a great clip though. I had to keep it. We had to figure it out.
Yeah, we did. And you did eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Kind
was
of.
very, oh, okay. Well, I had no problem in Final Cut where I edit these things. Zero problem. I dropped the original file and that is zero trouble. So anyway, let's get to the show, guys. I am here with Katie McDowell, of course, who you may know from previous episodes. She's an amazing filmmaker, photographer, lady killer, and or killer lady, I'm sorry. And so she's with us again. And then we also have Al Fallick. He is a comedy genius.
Oh my God,
you may know him as Helpert Evans from the very popular live and internet series, Movies, Musicals, and Me.
Thank you for having me, Andrew. It's a pleasure to be here.
Al, you love movies, don't you?
I really love movies.
I'm excited to see that shine through.
What?
I'm excited to watch that shine through this in this podcast.
Oh my God. Thank you for giving me the platform.
And then, of course, my amazing third guest. My amazing third guest is the incredible Will Fordyce. Will, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing great.
You're doing great.
Hello, everybody.
You look great.
Hello.
I thank you for having a microphone. You're the first person besides me to have a microphone on this podcast.
Oh, well,
Humble beginnings.
Oh my God.
All right, guys. Well, I'm switching to gallery view here so we can start the chat. This episode, we're going to be talking about film festival strategy. Now, we have a lot of experience in this with our production Bindle Stiffs from many years ago, so we may be diving a little bit into that more than a usual episode, as everyone here was involved in that. Will, you played Charlie the security guard. You are an improviser. You are a comedian. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. That's thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome.
Everything's good. I perform here in Austin.
Yes.
I go up to the Hideout Theater and can we say stuff like that?
Yeah. What?
The Institution Theater and
Yeah.
Can we cuss on this?
Yes. Fuck
Bad
you.
words?
Yes.
Oh, nice. This is gonna
This
be
is my
easy.
show. It's me, Will.
Okay.
You think I can't do a show without cussing?
Fuck yeah.
And it is on-set talk, It's like filmmaking and cussing go together.
Oh,
Awesome.
I can't do a show with cussing. So
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
You just hang up.
Bye. But so let's get into it. A lot of people don't even know film festival strategy is a thing. They get their film in to a festival and then they just go. They just go to the festival and they enjoy themselves and they have, something to eat and to meet some friends. And that's not always, depending on the festival, that's not always the best route, especially for a premiere and especially if you're trying to get the most out of an opportunity like getting into a fest.
Yeah, I guess we should explain exactly what film festival strategy even means and is.
Yes.
yeah, because when I hear film festival strategy, I thought you meant like get a spreadsheet and be like, these are the film festivals that are best for us.
Well, that's also a good idea for sure.
It's part of it. Yeah, the whole kind of.
Yeah, what I mean is thinking about your release at your premiere at a festival, thinking about it as another production in itself, because it is. And what we're going to be talking about is stuff like publicity, okay, press kits, putting a team together, swag, posters. These are it's like almost, it's an upside down Kickstarter. And so, in terms of the amount of stuff that you have to do, because you can't just assume that the festival is going to do enough to promote. They're going to promote whatever log lines that the critics or the press find interesting. They're not necessarily going to guarantee the same amount of promotion for every project, especially if you're in a shorts category or in the experimental category or whatever, some of these underdog genres.
Also, something I remember you did was really like guerrilla marketing. You got, you put on the raincoats and sprayed them, and you got lighters, and what's that?
We did it, Will.
Well, you were the you were the guy that generated all.
You had the idea, yeah.
And then we all went out and we went up and down.
I was like,
street.
me and Matt spray painted.
Go ahead, we had the whole team get together, and you had a certain you went above and beyond, which I think filled the seats. Because I saw some of the features not have as many as seats filled as you did.
Yeah, so Slam Dance is particularly an interesting thing because because it's during Sundance, so you have a big chance to get larger agencies or people in the industry to go see your film, because you can promote it on the same main street in Park City that they're promoting Sundance. So strategy at a place like that, because Slam Dance is a shopping festival, so there are two types, right? From what I learned back then, is there's your shopping festival and your art festival. Art festivals are great, but you want to start at a shopping festival and then kind of work your way to the more art festivals where your work is being appreciated as a piece of art and as a movie, but it's not necessarily going to get seen by buyers or agents or any of that kind of thing. So when we talk about Slam Dance, we're talking about it as a shopping festival where you can premiere there and sell your film, like Paranormal Activity did, like so many other movies, like Bong Joon-ho's movie, his first film,
Memento.
Yeah, and I think that's why we were so excited when we got into that festival, because our film was so fucked up that we didn't think it would ever get anywhere except to the art festivals. We were excited to do the Beaumont Film Festival. We didn't know what was going to happen, and so yeah, I think it's just something that isn't talked about enough. Katie, you and I have been making films for a long time. We've been in festivals have been we're always sort of the end goal that you can actually achieve or see, right?
Yeah.
How have festivals helped you? Yeah.
I mean, quite a lot. I think also if you're in high school and you're still making, or you're not still, if you're making movies and you're trying to apply to film school, that sending your short films to festivals is a great idea for your applications to film school.
Yeah,
that was kind of like the big start of me looking at film festivals. Was
it
in high
to
school.
Get your work seen. It was,
but it was. Well, it was.
Your resume.
But that was like my first experience. Was like in high school submitting all these short films, and it was so exciting to see it on the screen and everything. But it was also a big part of like my whole building up what I was gonna go to college to do, and kind of be ready to do that. And you do meet a lot of people, and you get all these you see other short films that kids are making. You kind of get to see what's out there, which is really cool.
And I think that's another thing that people miss out on, and is a part of festival strategy, is networking. I think we did the book of festival faces even before we went, where we sent people we sent our team, because we brought a team. We sent them all profiles of all the different people that were involved in the festival, so that we could already know kind of who they were, and establish a personal relationship, because networking is a huge part that like other people, like I said earlier, they just kind of go to the festival, hang out, and instead of networking, instead of having a festival strategy and executing it. Sorry, I'm ranting because I have a lot of thoughts on this, but let's get more general. Let's talk about butts and seats. Al, you perform a live show, and you have a lot of internet content as well, all for your character Helper Evans. How have you found that pursuit? Because I think it's very similar to theater, and I love comparing the two.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's definitely similar in that it's just like the simple process of like getting butts and seats, and especially in New York at like the price point that I'm working at, like it's pretty comparable to movies. And I think that people enjoy like the live experience, and you know, there's I'm lucky enough to live like in a big city where it does feel like there's like always an audience for something like this. Like Austin's another one, you know. LA one, Chicago's one, and I've truth be told, I've found that the most difficult part of this entire endeavor, I've been doing this show for about 4 years, different places, and you know, made a web series in that time, and the most difficult part of the entire thing has been like the marketing and like getting butts and seats, because we don't have much of a budget. And so we're doing it all.
Yep.
And it just, a lot of the times it's meant like, one thing that it has taught me is that like I have significantly less shame than when I started. Because,
I feel that way. I'm 3 weeks into the podcast and I feel that way.
Yeah.
Well, but so I think that's another thing that filmmakers don't realize when they go to festivals is that that doesn't guarantee anyone's going to go to your screening. Right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
It's not all included. It's not all
especially
included.
for like a bigger festival. Yeah.
What were you saying, Al? I'm sorry.
It's all this work that you do for the product and for getting it into some like big room or some established like thing. Like for us, it was like finally in January of 2019, we got a monthly run at UCB in New York. And that was like super cool. It was like, oh, fuck yeah, we're in with the big dogs, you know, but that is when like the work started.
Yeah.
You know what I think of? This is going to be a real deep cut for your movie fans, but the Andre DeShields Tony Awards acceptance speech this year.
This is what bonus features is all about, which is it's genres, it's artists from all different walks of life. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So he won the Tony for Hadestown, and he's this like African-American dude who's just been in the business for like 50 years, you know. I wish I could name some of his credits early on, but you know, just like a legendary guy. And he, during his speech, was like super grateful, and he was like, the top of one mountain is the bottom of another.
There you go.
And I have definitely found that to be true.
And that's the realization I think that filmmakers who are paying attention will find. You know, when, you know, and they're exhausted. They got their movie out there. They're like, yeah, it's done. You know, and
in y'all's experience, because Al, you're coming, it sounds like more theater and like internet and stuff, and you know, everybody does different things, but in a market where just like entertainment is just flooding, you know, there's such an oversaturation of, you know, I think there's a phrase that like what was old will become new again, and I would hope that theater gets a nice jolt once we all come back, because you know, we have Netflix, we have, you know, Hulu, we have all this streaming stuff, we have our phones, we have, you know, how do you compete, or what's y'all's thoughts on competing with just the oversaturated market?
Yeah, I think theater productions are very similar to small indie film productions, and I think a lot of people put on their own screenings of their films, and that's very similar to what you're doing, Al. And Dan Mervish even compared indie film to something like theater or dance, where you have a community around you and you're not going to make a ton of money, but it's about the art, and people are there to support you for making the art.
Right. And then you'll see like people who break out. You'll see people who go corporate, and they're like, sorry, y'all, I'm just going to give my body and my life to Frozen on Broadway for 5 years, you know? And then you'll see other people who like stay indie, but then like break out. Like Hadestown is a good example. Like those were people who came from like sort of like an experimental theater world that like somehow, you know, blew up.
You're an independent theater performer, theater producer, you know?
Yeah.
In the same, you come from the same place.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's been, I think that to answer your question, Will, I think that like, I think that I think you have to just like understand what it offers and just promise to offer that. Like with film, I really do think it's a more difficult prospect, and I don't know like how you like, because so far what the studios are doing, it's like the answer is like, well, we know you'll see Marvel movies. You know what I mean?
And we're going to be diving into that on movie news blab after the break, because there's so much news all related to that stuff, and we hit on it in the last episode, but I keep saying we hit on it in the last episode, but there have been developments in the story, so we will be picking up on that. So that's a little tease, just for the kids. I want to talk about the to that point. I'm wondering hold on, I lost it just for a second. So let's talk about swag a little bit. Advertising. The biggest thing that helped us put butts in seats was these Bindle Stiffs lighters that we made.
Awesome.
And I think that gets to your point, Will, about like, how do you stand out? You have to advertise in a more original way. You have to find if you want your voice to be louder, then make it more original. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's true. Smart.
Because everybody, you'd go out on the streets and see people, 10 people light up a cigarette, even though it was cold outside. And I mean, if you handed everybody a lighter that was smoking, they looked at the lighter and went, awesome. And they had,
Well, even my grandma needs a lighter for her bubble bath candles, So
that sounds romantic. Can we delve more into that?
You. What?
Never mind. We'll talk off air.
But yeah, I think things like that are, I mean, not to pat us on the back, but if I was ever going to brag about something, it would be how hard we went in our film festival strategy. I like the movie, you can poke all the holes in you want, you can call it a piece of shit, no problem, I agree. But my film festival strategy was bulletproof.
I mean, like, how many movies at your like price point get any sort of press? Not many. And it's like, and this speaks to the strength of the guerrilla marketing that you did, and also the quality of the movie.
I also hired a publicist, so that's the truth. So that's another thing. So you can hire a sales agent, you can hire a publicist. There are all kinds of people that would love to make some money off of your independent film in a good way. I mean, a lot of them are really great people, and you need them. So we lucked out and found an incredible publicist, Mickey Cottrell and Jonah Blackman. I think it was called Inclusive PR, and I want to have Mickey on the show and Jonah and talk about this. But they were the ones who sent out the press kit, and got to they have the mailing list, and they work to get that mailing list, and no one's going to respond to your emails in the way that they'll respond to a publicist. So if you can hire a publicist, I think that's a serious thing to consider. And if you can't, then the guerrilla marketing. And even if you can, on top of it all, at the very base of it is the guerrilla marketing strategy. And you can have multiple levels of it based on what what you can afford. And it's even if the film is done, you could still try to fundraise once you're in the festival. That's when people get very excited about that. And you could try and do some form of crowdfunding. Because you can crowdfund at different stages. So I think that's the other aspect of it that people don't think about, is hiring a publicist.
I mean, that's a price restrictive thing. There's like, you're right. Like, people don't think about that. And so maybe they don't like price it in when they're doing their initial.
If they're doing their Kickstarter and for their full budget, that's not in there. So I'm going to say, hey, if you're making something any good, try to save some money, cut down a location so you have a little money for so you have a few grand for a publicist.
That's
and they're a sliding scale. So depending on how many clients they take on, or how much you want to get blown up, they're gonna they'll take, they'll say, okay, I'll do it for this much, but and give you this much exposure, as opposed to if you paid them more, they spend more time on it, that kind of thing. So it is something to consider. And then if not, you can be your own publicist. Knock down walls, pass it around, and see what you can get. Local news loves to cover that shit. You're famous, depending on where you live.
Hometown hero Andrew Edison.
Yeah. Will, you and I went to the Toronto Film Festival together.
Yep. That's true.
That seemed that had a very different vibe than Slam Dance, in that it's much more spread out.
Oh yeah, it wasn't like just on that one strip, that one drag.
Yes.
Like theaters around town.
Yeah, I think that's a festival, and that's one of the ritzier ones. Like, I feel like if you don't have a publicist there, you're fucked, because you can't really poster up like they do. I don't know.
Well, also we were coming from a different standpoint, opposed to having some stake in the game, so to speak. We were just going to enjoy it and kind of like look at different.
But I don't remember a lot of promotion or interaction with the filmmakers or any of that, kind of like passing out of flyers or anything. Do you? Because I didn't.
No,
I think they might not have a policy that you can't do that or something.
I thought maybe in front of if I recall correctly, in front of the theaters, they had some stuff, but you walked a block away from the theater and there wasn't much about, if you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't know there was a film festival even going on.
And but the festivals have publicists too, so that's worth reaching out to them as well. Because they tend to hire up, but every festival is different, like we're saying, and they probably have different rules about that. So I think that's important to pay attention to as well.
Yeah, and I feel like kind of what we were talking about is more like these like top kind of few selects.
Yeah.
Because a lot of film festivals don't have all that stuff. Like, there are so many film festivals out there.
Yeah.
And it's like, but we're kind of, you're like, so there's so many levels.
It is a spectrum,
like, because there's like, there's so many levels of like what you're coming into and like what they can provide and what kind of resources they have.
So that's why you want to check it out, because you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great to go to festivals before you even submit to them. I think that going to festivals just as a viewer is a great way to learn more about how to publicize your movies, see what the event, see what it's like. So, go to your dream festival or go to your local festival that you think, and check it out before you submit. And so you'll know if it's worth even the money submitting,
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Yes.
So one thing that I've been doing, with my production in order to get some eyes on it, is we have this structure where we're able to like put special guests in the show, and I'm just like hustling all my connections for people who've like been on Broadway and being like, hey, will you like do my show for a weekend,
Yeah.
And that is something that I'm able to do because my show is always, it's very fluid.
You have a built-in publicity mechanism within the show structure itself and how you do it.
Yeah. So is there anything like comparable to that with like something that's static, like a completed film?
I think a lot of people might, and I want to hear what y'all, especially what Katie has to say about, or what y'all have to say about this, but I feel like, I don't know, Katie, what do you think?
If there's something comparable in film to kind of like bringing in new faces every week, like to get your name out there, basically. I mean, my only thing would be, I guess, is like how you do your promotional run. Like after you finish the movie, like you guys did a really funny little video after Bindle Stiffs where you read a bunch of like bad reviews of Bindle Stiffs.
Yes.
And it was a really funny little video that we could use to, it is a great video.
Link in the bio.
I love that one. But like things like that, you can do stuff like that to bring in, if you want to bring in some other people, if you want to get fresh material out.
Yeah.
You know, you can think about that while you're on set and be like, hey, like recently I did a music video and a guy was going to shave his head. And I was like, wait till we're on set and I'll shoot that. Yeah. And then we'll use it as a promotional material for later. So nothing to do with the actual videos, but it's like a good thing to use to, keep people interested.
Trailers use shots that aren't in the movie,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Makes me think of like, sometimes I feel like like when celebrities will tweet about a movie, if there'll be a little campaign, like Booksmart, I feel like had a moment where like all these celebrities were like, go support Booksmart and go see it, you know?
Yeah.
And I can't think of other examples, but I feel like there are other examples of like, you know, some of that thing where audience members will be like, we just loved seeing this movie. We had a great time. The whole family loved it.
Like Paranormal Activity, when they would show the people in the theater being all scared and coming out and being like, that was the scariest shit I've ever seen, you know?
And there'll be like press stuff around. I remember specifically with Paranormal Activity, with Paranormal Activity.
It's been a long Corona.
There was like, I remember reading on like, I don't know if it was like Hollywood Reporter or something about how like Steven Spielberg specifically was like terrified by the movie.
Stephen King like loved, you know, endorsed. But so what I think what you're getting at is not. I think a lot of people try to capitalize on their following, but they don't try to figure out a way to capitalize on other people's followings, the people that are on your team.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something to consider is how do you get other people to spread the message for you, and you know, assembling your cast and crew, right? And making it a team thing, not just the filmmaker, but it's the whole team is working together to spread the word about the screening, whether it's in person at the festival or it's online.
Yep. Yeah.
How's the community there with spreading the word and doing that kind of stuff? Is everybody, do they have each other's back where they're like, hey, you know, like, let's spread it? Or is it kind of like, well, I'm not in the show, so I'm going to kind of keep it low?
For who? For the other filmmakers or in the festival?
Or for theater productions?
That's a good question. You know, sometimes different actors are different. Sometimes if they've seen the show and they know they like it, they'll be like, guys, make sure you come see this. But sometimes my friends who might have like bigger followings will like maybe do an Instagram story about it the day of, like not really like, and I never, you know, I have no expectations, but I do appreciate and like remember who does help a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not offended by people who don't. I get it, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's got to be personal, you know. It's not just.
I remember who does.
Yeah, like Katie, you do a great job posting and being relatable and getting it out there. you know, you do.
Yeah, I try not to overdo it too. Like,
I get it.
No, but I mean, just like it's there is like an element of trying to like mix. You know, you want to show everything you're doing. Like for me, it's like for people that are making stuff all the time, it's hard to share your stuff without feeling like you're constantly just sharing your stuff to get views and to use your friends to like help you get views, which you are, but you are also, you want to share your work because you're excited about your work.
Yeah, and create some sort of dopamine rush for them too.
So they like be a part of it, but
Yeah, and also like a rising tide floats all boats. You know what I mean? It's like if my show blows up and becomes successul, it's good for everyone who knows me.
Yeah, I love it. I'm going to use that in the trailer.
It is true though.
I think that we could leave it there. Let's take a little break. And when we get back, I want to talk about, we're going to loosen up the structure a little bit. We're going to dive into some movie news blabs, which I'm excited for. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about coronavirus and what we've been watching since we have some new guests with us. So thank you for joining us, and please enjoy this short break commercial. Please listen to it. I think it's a very important message, in my opinion anyway. So thank you. And we'll see you in about three minutes. Don't go away. Come on. Okay, here we go. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be right back. But while we're gone, I just wanted to tell you about a special website that means a lot to Movie Blab. It's called Patreon.com. Maybe you've heard of it. So here's the deal. I'm new to podcasting, but I'm already pretty good at it. That means I'm going to want to keep going with it, stick to it, But the saddest thing I realized about podcasting is that it actually costs a good amount of money every month. The hosting fees, the subscription fees, the website fees, they all add up. So that's where you come in. We're not big enough for sponsors yet, but we are big enough for your donations. And guess what? I only want $3 a month from you. I mean, that's not that hard. And you'll get all this bonus content and free access, early access to many, many shows before they're ever posted for the menial public. That's right, I said it. Anyway, please open your hearts, open your wallets. We really could use the support. It's not going to be like this forever. Hopefully we'll get sponsors, but until then, we need you, the individual, to keep us afloat. So thanks for listening, and we'll be right back.
It's still exclusive.
Rated X. Get more out of life. Go out.
Show starts in 8 minutes. Yum, yum. It's time for a tasty and refreshing snack.
All right, guys, whatever. We're back. Right, let me do one little thing here. Guys, we are back. How's it going, everybody? Did you have a great 3-minute break? I know I did. Really important message there. I hope people got it.
We lost Al.
No.
Oh no, we lost Al.
He was the key.
Oh, this is just a day, you know. Good thing this doesn't matter. All right,
good thing we're in a pandemic.
And no one gives a fuck what we're doing.
What isn't that even more so? Like more important that we're bringing joy and happiness to the people.
I am trying. That's
exactly.
Exactly. You realize what I'm trying to do, Will.
Andrew, I know your heart.
Oh, tell me more.
Okay, well, one time I remember that when we were filming Bindle Stiffs, that there was this kitten in the tree, and we were in the middle of a shot, and you said, "Stop, cut," and like you got the ladder from production. The guy was trying to be stingy with it, but you punched him. You took the ladder and you saved that kitten. It was beautiful.
Al, will you turn that shit sideways and put it on something?
Oh yeah.
All right, let me. I'm gonna do something again. That was all the break, okay? So for my edit, just for my edit.
Are we live right now?
Gotta do it right.
I didn't mean to tell people that story.
Well, we are totally live.
Oh wait, I gotta plug my iPad in.
Why does that do that?
Oh no.
Oh, it's OBS. I lost my OBS.
You lost your what?
I lost my OBS, which is just the software that I use to do this shit.
It's like to stream, yeah.
Yeah. Not to stream, just I use it for the titles. It's so jank.
Yeah, for streaming.
Oh, we lost our viewers. Okay. It doesn't fucking matter. Oh, they're back. Okay.
Oh, phew. How many do we have?
We have 3.
Right on. Hello.
We love you.
Hello. We love you.
They're probably all me. My bots. I have 3 computers set up. Okay. So
I'm farming this from my apartment.
From my apartment. I need to farm. I need other people to farm. I'll send you the data. I'll send you the software. Create a VPN.
Please farm. Movie BLAB. Movie BLAB. Hashtag please farm.
Move BLAB. All right. OBS is refusing to.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. We live right now. Oh.
Yeah. All right. Whatever. All my videos fucked up. Hold on. Let's cut this stream and start a new one. Okay. I'm gonna cut this.
Okay.
Just stay there.
I can't work under these conditions.